welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Elle. I'm an interiors DIY blogger and YouTuber, and today we're doing a really fun Christmassy DIY little craft. We are going to replicate and attempt to dupe the McGee & Co copper bows that I have seen as part of the holiday collection and absolutely love. If you haven't seen any of my DIY project episodes before, you may not be aware that a lot of these are based off Studio McGee or other American interior brands kind of decor pieces that I attempt to duplicate and replicate here because A, sometimes they cost a bloody fortune, and unfortunately, as much as I would love to spend that much money on them, I simply cannot justify it. The main other reason is that we just can't get them here in the UK, which is always so sad, and I'm putting out a personal plea to do some form of UK shipping to, for these brands that doesn't cost an arm and egg with custom fees. So I'm happy to, find a warehouse for you so that I can get some of these products here in the UK. But until that happens, I'm going to attempt to DIY them. Now, I adore the holiday collection from Studio McGee. My plan is 1 year is to go to America sometime around the autumn, winter time, bring an empty suitcase and just stash it through of McGee & Co stuff so that I can bring it home with me. And when I saw these, I thought they were so cute and adorable, and I really wanted them on my tree, but again, price-wise, they're not too bad. $15 a bow is not too bad considering how much I spent on other stuff for my Christmas tree, but I just simply couldn't get them here in the UK. And once I looked at them more, I was a bit like, I can definitely recreate these. This shouldn't be too hard to DIY, so here we are today. So for those who don't know what I'm talking about, here is a picture of the bows. Now let me tell you, this was hard to find because they've actually sold out on the website. So if you're watching this and you are in the US and you wanted these bows and you can't because they're sold out, this might be the answer to your prayers. They're a gorgeous kind of coppery metal, definitely made of metal bows. It's simply just been manipulated into this classic traditional Christmas bow shape. And what I'm assuming is that you attach them to your tree, much like kind of a bauble, maybe just a bit more wiring. And they also have a Christmas tree topper, which I think is adorable for more of like a girly Christmas tree. And yeah, I think they'll look really cute, and I don't think they'll be that hard to do. So this is where we are today. I'm hoping this will be a one-day project. It could take a little bit longer just because of the materials that we're using to create the bows, but I definitely think this is something that you can do this weekend or in the evenings and then have them ready to go on your tree almost immediately. So things that you'll need to create this project. The main thing is the actual bow. What is the product that we're using for the bow? And let me tell you, this is something you can grab in any of your DIY or crafty stores around near you. You can also get this off Amazon. I will link down below, by the way, a Amazon shop where all these products are available, and most of them are on Prime, so you should be able to get them almost the next day. So in order to create the bows, we are going to be using clay, air dry clay. This stuff is brilliant. I've used the more terracotta one before for previous projects. This is my first time using the white version, but I have been told it is just as easy and simple to do, and I believe it should be a little bit quicker to dry. Most of the time they can say it's about 24 hours until super dry. I think it depends on how thick it is. We're obviously going for something quite thin, so it shouldn't take that long, but you still need to allow some drying time. So this is what we're using to create the initial bow. How I'm going to actually attach them to the tree, I had a little think about this, and I think this should work. I'm using this stuff. So I've got 2 packets. This is the full packet because it came with the 2. But this is floral wiring. I actually used this one to create something else Christmassy that you haven't quite seen yet, but check out my videos this week because it will be coming up. But this is genius stuff, and I think there should be more than enough because, again, we're not going too heavy with these bows. There should be more than enough, especially if I add something to the back of it so it seals it in as it's drying in order to attach it to your tree. I think you could get away with using some of the classic kind of plasticky bauble hooks, which I actually use them because they blend in more nicely than like the string or the ribbon into my tree, but that means they will be hanging low, whereas as you can see on the picture, these are almost as if they've been tied around the tree. So this I think is going to work better for that look, if that is what you're aiming for. Now, to get the coppery look for your tree, you are going to need some spray paint. I have some left over here and I have a brand new one here. This is my tried and trusted spray paint, black version in matte. The matte bit is really important because you don't want a gloss on it. You want that kind of neutral background to then go in with my tried and tested Rub and Buff. I've used this stuff on so many different projects, the main one being the Rub and Buff mirror and the lamp that I did many moons ago. I've also used this recently in my bathroom makeover on the ceiling light and the picture frames to age them up. This one is in Autumn Gold, so there is a copper version, but I have read in reviews that Autumn Gold is more copper than actual copper is. So I'm going to give this one a go. And then the only other things that I've picked up are some clay knives, obviously to cut out the bows as and when I need them. I also picked up a plastic chopping board. You do not want to use a wooden one because you are going to stain it. I've ruined many a chopping board by not using the correct chopping board to do this project on. And I also picked up a rolling pin. This is an old rolling pin that I've got to help just roll out the clay thinly. So that is literally all you need. There's not many things that are too kind of hard to use or anything like that. I'd also recommend saving some of your packaging, maybe that Amazon box that you got all these products in, for when you come for the spray painting bit. I'm sure many of us have got a cupboard somewhere in our home that's just full of cardboard recycling right now so that we don't overwhelm the bins. If you're like me, I've definitely got a space where I've just got all the packaging right now. So use one of those to help protect your home and your garden when you're spray painting these bows. So enough babbling from me. I'm going to get set up, pull up my reference picture, and we are going to start rolling out this clay and creating the bow shape. Okay guys, that took a little bit longer than I was wanting it to take, and it was a lot more frustrating than I thought it was. But I'm being very gentle with this. We have, oh God, we have our bow shape. Essentially what I've worked out is that you need to do strips roughly about this size, even thinner, and just be very gentle with it. You're essentially making 4 strips. You're doing the loop, then you're doing the tails of the bow, cutting them, and then just molding a little bit of clay on top in order to do the diamond bit where it looks like it's all being done into place. Being very gentle with this, all I've simply done on the back is attach a bit of clay around the floral ring. As you can see, it is incredibly fragile, so I'm trying not to handle it too much. I actually don't mind the rusticness of it. Like, It's not as perfect as the other ones, but the other ones were probably machine made, whereas this does have that kind of like hand kind of made movement to it, so I'm not too mad at this. I'm gonna go and store this on a baking tray and continue with my others. I'm probably gonna make about 4 or 6, depends on how quickly we get through this. Because it's quite thin, it should dry quite quickly. I am gonna test some of them in my air fryer and also the oven to see if that kind of quickens it up. Obviously previously when I've done clay projects, you normally bake at about 150 for an hour or 2. I'm gonna see different methods and go from there. But I'm really liking it already. Like, I think it's really cute. I think it's just gonna add a bit of charm and whims to my tree. So I'm gonna put this to one side and then yeah, we're gonna crack on with the rest of them. Welcome to the next day, and we have some bows. Now unfortunately we've had some casualties. We've had a few where some of the ribbon has fallen off and they simply need super gluing back together, which I want to give them a longer drying time. So for the purposes of this video, we are going to continue with the 2 that made it through the process. It's really sad that these things happen, you know, this is all part of the learning process. So I have the 2 bows here, all spray painted, which is what I did this morning. I had them in the oven for 2 hours at 100 degrees in the oven, and that seems to have done it quite nicely. Because it got quite dark as well, I actually left them overnight. So this is definitely a weekend project, because I would recommend doing that drying time overnight just to give it some you know, time to really make sure the clay is all set. And as I mentioned this morning, I went and spray painted them, and I've just been leaving them all day to dry, and I think they look great. Now with the rub and buff method, which is what we're going to use to make them look copper, you don't necessarily need to spray paint them. You probably go straight on with the rub and buff onto it, but I like to spray paint them because I think it gives it something to stick to, the rub and buff, but also it just gives it more of an aged look, which is something that I really like. But other than kind of, like I said, the mishaps, I think they are absolutely stunning, and I can't wait to fix the other ones so that we can really complete the look. So I am going to get rub and buffing on these, give them an hour-long drying time, and then by the time we've done all that, they will be ready to go on the tree, and that is the DIY completed. So let's get you set up, let's get rub and buffing, and let's get this job done. There we are, guys, the bows are on the tree, all 2 of them, and I'm so happy with how this DIY turned out. Like, they look so cute. cute on the tree. Like, I absolutely love them. Obviously they don't look identical to the Studio McGee ones, but in order to be identical we would be having to look at like welding metal, which although would be a very fun project, is not a skill that all of us have in our wheelhouse. I do hope you enjoyed this Christmassy DIY. Let me know if you're going to take part. Do tag me in any of your stories on Instagram or anything like that where you're attempting this DIY, and let me know if you go for a copper one or if you decide to go for maybe more of a gold or silver. I think you could go anyway with the ribbon buff in terms of how you want it to turn out. If you like this DIY, do give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below if there's any other festive DIYs you'd like me to take on. I have one more coming up this week for you guys, and then yeah, I'm open to some suggestions or anything like that. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe. We are fastly growing, and honestly I'm just so grateful for all your guys' support with this channel, and yeah, I'm just excited to bring you guys more festive seasonal content. Have a lovely rest of your evening, guys. I will see you guys tomorrow for a very special video, and yeah, have a lovely rest of your day and see you guys soon. Bye.